Hi, friends. My name is Ernie. I'm one of the teachers around here at YNAB. And today I'm going to be walking you through how to set up your spending plan in YNAB. To start, let's go through the YNAB method. Because at its core, YNAB is all about helping you spend and save with confidence and clarity. And these four rules are how you're going to do that. Now, we call them rules. We refer to them as rules all over our website, but I like to think of them a lot more as habits because these are things that you're going to be doing with your money on a regular basis. And as you do them time after time after time, that's when you gain that clarity and confidence with your spending and saving. So we'll go through them one at a time and then we'll start setting things up in YNAB. Habit one, give every dollar a job. With this habit, you're simply deciding what to do with your money before you spend it. So, right away in YNAB, you're going to be looking at the money that you have today, your real dollars, and giving jobs to them. And then after that, it's every time you're paid. And you're going to find that as you give jobs to your dollars, you gain clarity around what all of your money needs to do. And then you can move forward and start spending those dollars. Habit two, embrace your true expenses. True expenses are the things you don't spend money on every single month. Things like the annual car insurance premium, or if there's a 6-month bill, a 3-month water bill, things like that. We're going to be embracing them by setting a little bit of money aside every single month. That way, when they happen, we're ready. We have money already set aside to pay for that bill, to pay for that expense. There's no scrambling to come up with the money. There's no pulling money from savings or swiping your credit card and figuring out how you're going to pay for it later. And then we have habit three, roll with the punches. This often becomes YNABers' favorite habit because it offers them flexibility. At any time, for any reason, you can change your spending plan. Nothing is set in stone. And what this looks like, you take money from one category, or maybe it's from a number of categories, and you move it somewhere else. This is such a fantastic habit because our lives are constantly changing. Our priorities, our circumstances are changing. We're constantly getting new information. So it makes sense that our spending plan should be able to change alongside all of that. And then finally, we have habit four, age your money. This is all about creating some breathing room in your spending plan. And the way we do that, we age our dollars. We put as much time as we can between earning and spending. And the more time that you have between those two events, the more flexibility, the more stability, the more security that you have with your money. And the ultimate goal with habit four is to get you a month ahead. When you are a month ahead, you are living off of income that you earned in a previous month. So I'm recording this in April. Imagine all the money that I'm spending this month in April is money that I actually earned last month in March. So then, as my April paychecks were coming through, I didn't need that money, right? Because I was spending last month's money. So I hold on to those dollars, I save them, and then that becomes the money that I end up spending next month in May. So I've got 30, 45, maybe even 60 days between when I earn money and when I actually end up spending that money. And again, the more distance we can put between earning and spending, the more flexibility, the more stability, the more security that we have. So those are the 4 habits. They're the most important piece to this entire equation. Now we're going to hop on over to the web app. I'll start setting things up and we'll show you how to implement these habits in YNAB. So I'm defaulting to the web app, but everything that I am showing you on the web app can also be done on mobile. And I'll be sure that for a few of these demonstrations, I do show you specifically what it looks like on mobile. All right. First thing that I want to do in YNAB is I want to make it my own, meaning I want to customize my groups and my categories. These categories represent how I spend, how I save. They also reflect my values, my priorities. So make them your own. You want your life reflected in your groups and categories, and you have full control over both. So let me give you some quick examples here. You can change the name of any group or category. To do that, just go ahead and click on the name. Let's say, well, I don't have both of these, so I'm going to change it to just mortgage. So you can change the names, and then if you don't need the category or group, just delete it. Get it out of there. You can also create new categories. Just hover over that group, hit that little plus button right there to create a new category group. Upper left. You can also move the categories and groups wherever you want. Just click and drag those. And like I said, you get to rearrange the categories in a way that makes the most sense to you. All right. The other thing that we're going to be doing here is adding targets to our categories. Targets are a fantastic way to plan in YNAB. Targets are how you tell a category, here's how much money I need, and here's when I need that money by. So let me walk through some examples for you. And let's start right here in the bills section. So these are all of my monthly bills. And let's say I'm going to create a target in the cell phone category. We'll say my phone bill is due tomorrow. Categories selected. Over here on the right, create target. First thing I'm going to decide on, what is the frequency of my phone bill? For me, phone bill is monthly. How much do I need? $140. And the other thing I'll say here about these targets is don't shoot for perfection. Maybe you're thinking, Ernie, I don't know how much I pay for my phone bill or any of these things. That's all right. Take your best guess. And then as time goes on, you're quickly going to dial in what you need for these specific categories. So you can always come back and edit targets later on in the process. All right. So I need $140 every month, and I need that money by the 26th. That's when I always pay my phone bill. And then right down here, what do I want to do in my phone category next month? Well, I want to repeat that process all over again because next month I have to send the cell phone company another $140. So in YNAB, I want to set aside another $140 next month. So save that target, and now you can see that information is right there in the category. I need $140 by April 26th, and the category is yellow. That's my reminder to actually assign money to this category before I pay the bill. And we're going to get to the assigning in just a moment here. And then just to show you how this carries over into next month, now I'm in May, and we're going to be repeating that process all over again. Put $140 in by May 26th. Category will remain yellow until I actually do that. So I'm going to go ahead and walk through that process for all of my monthly bills. All right, let's keep working our way down this list. And now I'm at my credit card payments group. Let me talk briefly about credit cards. As soon as I added my credit card accounts, YNAB automatically created a credit card payment category for each account. And these are the categories that I'm going to use to keep track of how much money I have available for my next payment. So you can see right now, I owe Visa 150, I owe Discover 2,400. I don't have any money set aside for my next payment. Now, notice how these categories are already yellow. So they have a target created. And that's because when I set up the accounts, I told YNAB how I want to handle that current balance. So that's the first decision that you have to make about credit cards in YNAB. How are you going to handle that balance that you bring in? And there's two options. You're going to pay that balance all at once, or you're going to pay that balance over time. The Visa is my pay in full card. Now, when I'm saying pay in full, I'm referring to paying down to zero or paying the statement balance. I handle both the exact same in YNAB. So I told YNAB at some point this month, or maybe at the beginning of next month, I'm going to pay that balance all the way down to zero, all at once. So now my Visa payment category is yellow to remind me to make sure I assign the amount of that starting balance. Discover's a little bit different. With this card, I'm paying off that balance over time. And I told YNAB I want to try to send Discover $300 every single month. So now my Discover payment category is yellow to remind me to assign that 300 at some point later on in April. Keep in mind, you can always edit those targets. So once you set them up during that initial account setup, you're not locked into anything. You can always change that game plan moving forward. Okay, so that's credit cards. Now we're in the frequent section. You don't have to have a frequent group, but these are the things you spend money on all the time. And the target that I like using for these types of categories, weekly. You tell that category how much money you want every single week for the priority. So for groceries, and again, it's okay to guess here. Let's say I want $200 for groceries every week. Next piece of information, when do I want that money by? I'm going to choose Saturday. That's my shopping day. And then just like with the phone category, what do I want to do next month? Now, in this case, I think I want to refill up to $200 next week because there's a chance for groceries or eating out, transportation, for categories like this, I might have a little bit of money left over at the end of the month. And I want that leftover money to contribute to next month's spending plan. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to refill up to $200 a week. So if there's money left over in April, that leftover money will then contribute to the May spending plan. I like that. And then I can always change my mind if it doesn't work later on. Save that target. Now, in this case, YNAB's telling me I only need $200 for the rest of the month because we're at the end of April when I'm recording this, and there's only one Saturday left. Let me flip forward to May so you can see what that weekly target looks like for an entire month. Now in May, that the groceries category is calling for $800 because you can see here there's 1, 2, 3, 4 Saturdays in May. 4 times 200 gives me that grand total of 800 for the week, for the month, I mean. All right, let's keep working our way down. Now I'm in the non-monthly group. So the non-monthlies, these are those rule 2, habit 2 true expenses. They're the things that we don't spend money on every single month. And this is where targets, I think, are exceptionally helpful because oftentimes it's the non monthlies that we completely forget about. And when we forget about them, then we have to scramble. We have to pull from savings. We have to put the expense on the credit card, figure out how to pay for it later. But now with this target in place, we're going to be reminded so we can proactively save for it before that expense actually lands on our doorstep. Let me give you an example. Car insurance, let's say that is an annual bill for me, $1,200 every September. Create target. Now I'm going to use the yearly option. I need 1,200. I need that money by September. And the actual date doesn't matter. I could pick the 1st, the 30th, or if I actually know the date, let's go ahead and do that. We'll say it's the 13th. And then again, once I pay that bill, what do I want to do next year, next October? I want to repeat that process all over again. Once I pay the bill in September, starting in October, I want to start setting aside another $1,200. So that's what we're going to do. Save the target. Now, here's what YNAB does with that total amount of money that I want in the future. It breaks it down in this monthly target amount. So now every month, as paychecks are coming in, I'm going to see that alert. That's my reminder. Oh, yeah, car insurance. That's due in the fall. Let's set aside $200 so we stay on track. I will assign the money. Those dollars will be available. And since I'm not going to be spending them in April because the bill isn't due till September, those leftover dollars, those available dollars roll over automatically into next month. And then in May, I'll repeat that process all over again. I will assign another 200. I'll have 400 available. And I'll keep doing that month after month after month until come September, I have $1,200 there just sitting, waiting, and ready to go. That bill lands and I just pay it. I love habit 2. It brings so much peace. All right, one other example here. Let's say I have a long-term goal to save for a new roof. So let's create a new category, hover over the goals group, hit that plus button, new roof, select the category, create a target. Now, this is not a weekly goal or monthly, yearly. I'm going to choose the custom option here. I'm going to put in that total amount of money that I want to save. Let's say $15,000. And then I want to, right down here at the bottom, have a balance of $15,000. This is the option I'm going to use for those long-term savings goals. Select that. And then I can even use the by date option if I want. In this case, I'm thinking 2027. So let's do, how about we do June 2027? Perfect. And then just like with the car insurance category, YNAB takes that large amount of money that I want in the future and it's breaking it down in that monthly, much more manageable monthly amount. And what I really like about those targets that are set in the future is YNAB will auto adjust that monthly amount based on what I'm actually assigning. So if there's ever a month you assign less than the target amount, or maybe even more, no problem. YNAB will auto adjust the next month. It's always going to be keeping you on track to saving that total amount of money by that future date. All right, let me pause right there. And I want to hop on over to the mobile app quickly. Just because I want to show you how you can set up that spending plan on mobile. I'm on an iPhone. I'm going to tap right up here in the top right. That's edit mode. And now in edit mode, it's basically a one-stop shop for setting up that spending plan. I can create new categories up here, or excuse me, new category groups up here in the top left. If I want to create a new category, I just find the group, hit that plus button. I can tap into this field to change the name of any of those categories. Below the category name, that's where I can start working with that target. And then if I want to rearrange all of my categories or my groups, I'm going to hit that 3 hamburger patty button over on the right, and then I can move those categories wherever I want. All right, let me move back onto the web app, and I'm going to show you the finished product. And your spending plan doesn't have to look anything like this, but might give you some ideas. So first off, in the monthly section, notice how I have arranged those categories by due date. A lot of YNABers like to do that. It makes it really easy to prioritize what bills are due next. In the frequent group, and you could put these wherever you want, but if you are sharing YNAB with a partner, I highly recommend that both of you have some sort of fun money category, like I set up here for my wife, Christy, and I. Together, you can decide on how much is going into those categories every single month. And then the best part, you're both free to spend that money however you want. I love my fun money category because I get to buy things that matter to me. And my fun money category gives me peace of mind. I can go ahead and spend that money and not have a fear of derailing the rest of the spending plan. There's no fear of, oh, I spent money that we needed for something else. So highly recommend those fun money categories. And then something else I want to mention, and you could put this wherever you want, but stuff I forgot. Some sort of miscellaneous category, because there will be things that you forget about. That's normal. It's absolutely okay. And, I've been stressing the goal here isn't perfection. So I like having some sort of category like that to plan for those forgotten expenses. And then I found after the first year, I used that category less and less. All right. Now the plan is done. One last thing that you might want to do is a reality check on the plan, right? So you want to compare the cost of the plan to your expected income. And the way we do that in YNAB is by looking at the underfunded number over here on the right. And I always like moving a month forward because I use those weekly targets. And when I move a month forward, I make sure that YNAB is capturing a full month's worth of expenses in those categories where I have a weekly target set up. So now I'm looking at the underfunded in May. It's $6,409.74. So what that's telling me is how much this plan is going to cost. YNAB is actually adding up all of these individual target amounts and telling me it's just under $6,500. Perfect. Now I can compare that number to my expected income. And let's say my expected income is right around 6,500. In this case, I would know, yeah, my plan, pretty realistic. If my underfunded number came in way higher than my expected income, then I would go back to the drawing board and make some changes. I would find the least important categories and just start dialing back those target amounts a little bit. All right, planning phase is all done. Now the real YNABing begins. Now we're going to start looking at the actual money that we have in our cash accounts, and we're going to start assigning that money to our plan. So we are going to be building a spending plan with real dollars. No monopoly money, no forecasted money, real dollars. So let me show you this. Checking account, savings. Both of those starting balances are automatically categorized as ready to assign. With that category, YNAB is feeding that bank balance into the categories. So across my checking and savings, I have $5,640. In the budget, I've got $5,640. This is kicking off habit number one. I want to give a job to every single one of these dollars. Before I start spending even a penny, I want to tell that money, here's what you need to do for me. Specifically, here's what you need to do for me between now and the next time I'm paid. So we'll keep in mind that my next paycheck is Friday, May 3rd. But what I want to do first, actually, because I'm looking over here and I have savings, I want to make sure that I don't use my savings for monthly bills or groceries. So I'm going to create a temporary holding category. And I'm just going to put this in my monthly section. Savings. Maybe even I even say don't touch. And I'm just going to take the $2,000 in that account and I'm going to assign it there. Okay. And I'm going to come back to this money and I'll make more specific decisions about my savings dollars in just a bit. So now I'm left with the $3,640 in my checking account. So I'm going to start right at the top because that's the way I've organized my categories by from most important to least important. And I'm going to start assigning this money to the categories based on those target amounts. So here we go. Mortgage. I need $1,600 by April 1st. Well, that already happened. Today, I'm recording this on April 25th. I paid the mortgage 3+ weeks ago. So I don't need to take money that I have right now and put it towards something that already happened. YNAB is all about looking forward. So for all of those expenses where you've already paid pre-YNAB, don't assign any money in the current month. And if it would help, you can even snooze those targets. Categories selected. Over here on the right, I'm going to hit that snooze option. Now that target's taking a nice little nap. It's not reminding me to put any money into that category. And it's only going to nap for the rest of the month. In May, it'll wake back up and then it'll pick up, reminding me to set aside $1,600 by May 1st. So it's a temporary snooze. Let's also snooze the internet because I paid that back on April 7th. Okay, we can also snooze the electric. I paid that a few days ago. Phone, here's something we cannot ignore. The phone bill is due tomorrow. And I need to set aside $140 to pay that bill. So I'm going to take $140 from this pile of available money, assign it directly to my phone category. Now I'm $140 less up top, and I'm $140 more in the category. So now I have money, real dollars, set aside, available to pay my phone bill tomorrow. And the other thing going on here, notice how the yellow alert has disappeared. It's like I've got that green light now to go ahead and spend that money at any time. That gives me confidence. If I wanted, I could sign into Verizon right now, pay my $140 bill for April. All right, let's keep going. And I'm going to speed this up. I want to set money aside for the last two expenses of April. So I've selected both of those categories. Now I'm going back to the underfunded number on the right, because now that underfunded number is telling me how much it's going to take to fund those two categories. So auto loan, retirement, they require 575. I always do a quick check with ready to assign just to make sure that I actually do have that money available to assign. In this case, more than enough. So I can click that underfunded button, and then YNAB assigns that target amount to the category. So now when I step back, I can see that I have money set aside for the last 3 bills and expenses of April. But remember, when I started assigning this money, I asked myself the question, what does this money need to do between now and the next time I'm paid? The next time I'm paid is Friday, May 3rd. That means some of these dollars need to be used for that May 1st mortgage. So, what I'm going to do to prepare for that is I'm going to flip forward to the May plan. I'm going to find my mortgage category. And again, that target, it wakes up in May. And now I'm going to take 1,600 from that pile and assign it to my mortgage category. Perfect. Now I can see I have money set aside to cover that May 1st mortgage. And when I go back to April, notice how those mortgage dollars aren't even available for me to spend in April. It's like that future month is protecting those dollars for me. It's going to make sure I don't spend that money on something else. Okay. So with the money that I have today, I have dollars set aside to cover the May 1st mortgage and the last 3 bills of April. I'm going to keep working that money all the way down my categories. My goal is to get ready to assign to 0. So that brings me to the credit card payments category. All right, let's fund these. Visa. This category needs $150. Remember, I told YNAB I want to be able to pay that balance all at once. So I'm going to assign 150. Now, of all the money that I have at the bank, 150 of those dollars are set aside to pay my $150 balance. Perfect. Discover. I want to send Discover 300. Assign that amount. Now I have 300 available to put towards that balance. All right. What do we have left? 875. Let's fund the frequents. So groceries, eating out, transportation, and some fun money for the rest of the month. I'm going to select all those categories. I'm going to speed up this assigning process. So those 5 categories, looking at underfunded, now require $525. Quick check with ready to assign. Yep, I've got more than enough. So let me click that button. And there we go. Now I have money set aside for these priorities for the rest of the month. So again, using targets and using that underfunded button, it really speeds up the assigning process if you want. I've been using YNAB for 11 years now. I still love going category by category and assigning those individual amounts. I think it's fun and it increases awareness too. All right, I've got $350 left. Let's keep going here. Again, I want to get this down to 0. So now we're at the non-monthly group. Again, this is for those rule 2, those habit 2 true expenses, the things we don't spend money on every single month. And I don't think I'm going to be able to cover all of them. So those 10 require 1,055. Nope, not even close. I only have 350. So I really need to think through, how do I want to use that last 350? And really, all I'm doing here is taking a guess based on the information that I have right now. So let's say I put 200 towards car insurance just because I think that's my top priority. Because with car insurance, I need $1,200 by September and I want to make sure I stay on track. So assign the 200, that money's available. And just to show you what it looks like next month, I move forward to May. That 200 is still available. It carries over automatically. And then I'll be repeating that process in May. Assign another 200 and I'll have 400. Okay, 150. Well, how about $50 towards car repairs? $50 towards home maintenance and 50 yeah, $50. We'll do $50 towards medical. And again, there's no wrong answers here. I'm thinking through my priorities, what could potentially come up between now and the next time I'm paid. And I settled with $50 in those three categories. Now, you can see here, I've assigned money. That money is available to spend, but my categories are still yellow. That just means that they need a little bit more money. They need more money to get me to that target amount that I set. But maybe I'm not able to hit that target amount this month. That's absolutely okay. You can snooze that target, you can change your plan. Or maybe you have another inflow, another paycheck coming later on in the month. You can use that paycheck to top those off. So there we go. Ready to assign is all the way down to zero. What this means, every single dollar that I have today now has a job in the budget. I know what all of my money needs to do for me. And because I've given a job to all my dollars, these individual category balances can now guide my spending decisions. Let me hop over to mobile and show you this. And this is how I use the mobile app all the time. My phone is always on me. So at any point, I can check in with YNAB to see how much money I have available for my priorities. Let's say I'm going grocery shopping and I'm wondering, how much money do I have available to spend on groceries? In the past, pre YNAB, and maybe you can relate to this, I would look at my checking account balance. Okay, I've got $3,640. I want to buy some groceries. Now, I know it's not all available for groceries. I've got this bill coming out tomorrow, then I've got that bill, and then I want to do this thing with that friend, right? I'm running through all these scenarios. I'm doing this mental math. Basically, what I'm doing here is taking a guess as to how much of that checking balance is available for groceries. That doesn't give me any clarity, doesn't give me any confidence. And like I said, I've now given jobs to those dollars. So instead of looking at that checking account balance, I'm going to tap on budget, lower left. I'm going to look at my spending categories now because that's going to tell me exactly what I have available. So I scroll down, I find my groceries category. I've got $200. Perfect. That's the clarity that I need. That's the confidence that I want. I can spend $200 on groceries, knowing I still have money set aside for all my other bills, all the other expenses. I have some money set aside for fun things. And then keep in mind with habit 3, roll with the punches, I'm not locked in to those specific amounts. If I spend a little bit more, that's okay. I can roll with the punches. I can take additional money from another category and I can use it to fill that groceries category up to what it actually needs to be based on my spending. And I'll show you this in just a minute. All right, let's go back to the web app. I guess since we're talking about rule 3, let me just take it one step further. Because remember I said, when I'm giving jobs to my dollars, really I'm taking my best guess. With the information that I have at that point in time, here's what I think my money needs to do. But let's say immediately after creating this plan, I close out YNAB and I go to the mailbox and there's a medical bill. I owe the clinic $75. So I go to my medical category and I can see, oh, I've only got $50 available. No problem. With habit 3, I'm going to roll with the punches. I'm going to change my plan because when I made this plan, I didn't know that medical bill was going to be in my mailbox today for $75, but now I do. So with that new information, I can just change the plan. I can change it so that it matches my actual life. And what I think I'm going to do here, I think I'm going to take $25 from auto maintenance. I'm not going to be doing anything to the car for the rest of the month. I don't have any oil changes planned, things like that. Yeah. So I'm going to click on that available amount, type in 25, move that to medical. So now it means I have 25 less in auto, but that's fine. What's important is I have the $75 available in my medical category to pay that clinic bill today. So with that new information, I change my plan, I move on with life, and everything is good. All right. So that is setting up YNAB. Customized my categories, created those targets, assigned money to the plan. Now let me show you what it looks like to spend that money that you have available in your categories. And I'll show you spending from a checking account and also on a credit card. Let's go buy some groceries. So I've already looked at that category balance. I know where I stand. I've got $200. I do my grocery shopping. And let's say I end up spending $215. In my checking account, I'm now going to record that spending. And if you have a linked account, that spending will automatically import once the bank posts it to your account and YNAB grabs it. But in this case, I have an unlinked account, so I'm going to hit that add transaction button. Payee, this is who I gave the money to. I'm going to say grocery store. And you can be generic like I am here, or you can get really specific with the name of the store. Category. Where am I pulling that money that I just spent from in my plan? I'm taking it from groceries. And the amount, that is an outflow. And for those of you that have linked accounts, the outflow and the payee automatically import. That's the information that comes through. You just need to categorize those imported transactions yourself. All right, so this looks good. So now with that spending in my checking account, my balance goes down. And then on the budget side, my groceries category available balance goes down by $215. So let's break down this groceries category. Assigned, that's the amount that I put into the category. Activity, that's what I spent. Available, what I have moving forward. And in this case, I've overspent groceries. I actually owe this category money. And this doesn't mean that I did something wrong, that I'm a bad YNABber. It's just math. It means more money came out than what was available. So again, with habit 3, I'm just going to roll with the punches. I'm going to find $15 from some other category. And in this case, and what I'm doing here, my thought process is I'm just looking at all of these available balances. And I'm asking myself, can I use this money? And a lot of times the answer is no, you can't use this money because you need that money there to pay that expense, to pay that bill. But sometimes, Like with the transportation category, I see that I have $50 available. And I'm thinking, I recently just filled up both vehicles. I think those full tanks should get me through the rest of the month. I think $50 is way more than what I actually need in that category right now. So let's take 15 of those dollars. Perfect. So I'm going to click on that overspent amount, cover this overspending with transportation dollars, and then YNAB's going to move the money automatically for me. It unassigns 15 from transportation, and it puts that 15, assigns it to groceries. So now I've paid back that category and I'm back in business. Change your plan. It's absolutely all right. Oh, and the other thing going on here, transportation category now goes yellow because I unassigned money. So I took money away from that target progress. Now, in this case, I don't want to put another $15 in because 35 is more than enough. So I'm just going to snooze that target, change my plan. Okay, let's do spending from the credit card. Let's go ahead and pay the phone bill. I have the money already available. So I'm going to go into my Visa account, add transaction. And again, if you have a linked account, these transactions automatically import once they clear on the bank side and YNAB brings them in. Payee, I gave that money to Verizon. Category, I'm taking it from phone. And the amount that I spent, that is an outflow. So now with that new spending transaction, my balance goes up. I owe Visa $290. Here's what YNAB does on the budget side when you spend with your credit card. First, YNAB takes the money out of the spending category. So again, if we're breaking down, I put 140 in, I spent 140. Moving forward, I have 0 available. Perfect. That's where I want to be at with this category. Now, what did YNAB do with that 140 that it took out? Since it was money spent on a credit card, YNAB automatically moved it to my Visa payment category. So now I have $290 set aside to send to Visa. I have the 150 that I assigned to myself to account for that balance I brought in. And then I have the $140 that YNAB moved automatically. And the reason YNAB moved it automatically is because the money was available. And really, when I say move, that doesn't accurately depict or show what's going on. All YNAB is doing here is it's changing the job of those dollars. When I assigned them, the job of that money that was sitting in my bank was to pay the phone bill. But now the job of that money, which is still sitting in my bank, is to pay Visa back because Visa, they're the folks who actually paid Verizon for me. And eventually, Visa is going to want their money back. It's going to be that knock on the door, Ernie, hey, we paid your phone bill. We bought all this other stuff for you. We want our money back. Give us our 290. Well, no problem. I already have that money safely set aside in my payment category. So those dollars sitting in your payment category, they're going to be protected there. YNAB's just making sure you don't spend them on something else before that credit card statement comes due. All right. I told you we would come back to the dollars and savings. Let's tackle them right now. So I temporarily put them in this holding category. I'm just going to click on that available amount and move them back to ready to assign. I don't need this category anymore, so I'm going to click delete. So now the 2000 in ready to assign, that's from the 2000 in my savings account. Again, I didn't want to use this for the monthly bills, groceries, things like that. These are dollars that I'm saving. So what I need to figure out, what am I actually saving for? Create categories for those priorities, and then you assign the money there. That's how we save in YNAB. We save by assigning money to categories. All right, for me, I'm saving for that new roof and I'm saving for an upcoming vacation. So now the decision I need to make of that 2000 that I have available, how much is for each priority? For the new roof, how about we do 1500? And for the vacation, 500. Perfect. So now by assigning the money to those categories, I can see I have saved $1,500 for the new roof that I need in June 2027. And I have saved $500 for the upcoming vacation. By putting the money in categories, that's how I know I'm not going to use that money for anything else. That 1500 is only reserved for the new roof. That 500 is only reserved for vacation. And then when we move forward, so next month, May, notice how those dollars stick with the category. They're going to stay there until I spend from those categories, or maybe I decide to move them somewhere else. And then also, as you move forward, you're able to assign more. So, month after month, as you keep assigning money to those categories, you're going to watch as those available balances grow. And again, that's how we save in YNAB by assigning money to categories, and how much you've actually saved. That is the available number in that category. All right. What else should we talk about? Paychecks. What does it look like when you get paid? And this is big with YNAB. And I've touched on this numerous times, but I just want to reiterate here. We're only working with the money that we have right now. So I'm not going to forecast future paychecks. I'm only going to import it or add it myself once I'm actually paid. Now, I said I wasn't getting paid till Friday, May 3rd, but let's say there is another paycheck just so I can show you this demo. In my checking account, that's where the money landed. I'm going to hit add transaction because I have an unlinked account. Payee, this is the name of your employer or the source of your income. My employer, YNAB. And YNAB, YNAB will automatically import that payee if you have that linked account. Category, I'm always categorizing income as ready to assign. And then the amount is an inflow. Let's say I was paid $1,800 today. So now in my checking account, I have a brand new $1,800. My balance jumps to $5,225. And then in the budget, I have a brand new $1,800 to assign. So it's right back to habit one. With that new money that just landed in my life, what does that new money need to do between now and the next time I'm paid? So I'm going to give jobs to those dollars until ready to assign is right back down to zero. So let's start in April. And since I have targets set up, I'm looking for yellow. Yellow is telling me, hey, Ernie, these categories might need a few more dollars. So we're looking good there. Okay, here's our first yellow, auto, and I'm just going to select all the yellow. Let's top these categories off. So underfunded says those 9 require 705. Let's also put some money in entertainment. Okay, so those 10 categories, 805, I've got more than enough. There we go. Click. YNAB assigns those target amounts automatically. And now looking at things, and when I say things, I'm looking at these available amounts. I'm feeling really good with what I have set aside for April. I've got money set aside to cover the bills, the April expenses. I've got money to cover credit card payments. I'm starting to save money for those non-monthlies. I have money to put towards, or that I put towards my savings priorities. We're good. I still have $995 left over. Remember, I want to get this down to zero. So everything is covered in April. Now I'm going to take what's left over and I'm going to start working habit 4. I'm going to age those dollars. I'm going to put time between when I earned them, end of April, and when I spend them. Hopefully not until May, maybe even June. So to age them, I'm going to flip forward to the May plan and I'm just going to pick up where I left off. I've already assigned $1,600 to the mortgage category, so that one's covered. Let's fund the next 3 bills in May. Perfect. And with that 575, how about I put 400 towards groceries? That's going to cover the first 2 weeks of May. 150 towards eating out. That's going to cover the first 2 weeks for restaurants. And then I'll put the last 25 towards transportation. And again, I'm just kind of taking a best guess of what I'm going to use this paycheck for moving forward. But with habit 3, I can always change my plan at any time for any reason. And let's see here. Okay, we're done. Ready to assign is all the way down to 0. So now I've got this head start on May, right? I've got the first, what is that? 4 bills already covered. Got a little bit of groceries, eating out. So there's that time between when I earned and when I spend. And again, the ultimate goal here is to be a month ahead, where with that last paycheck of the month, you're able to finish funding the next month. So by the time that next month actually rolls around, you're ready to go. You've got this fully funded month. And then as the paychecks come in that month, you just keep pushing them forward, right? More and more time between earning and spending. All right. There we go. We've set everything up. We've customized. We've added targets. We've assigned jobs from the checking account dollars, savings dollars. We've added that paycheck. We've covered overspending. Folks, that's it. That is setting up YNAB. And I know you probably still have some questions at this point. We have a lot of resources available for you. Bottom right of the mobile or the web app, click on that question mark. And on the answers tab, we have a vast library of resources. Just type in whatever question you have, and we should have a resource available to help you. Otherwise, click on the chat tab and you can reach out directly to our support team. They are fantastic humans and they would love to help in any way that they can. We also have a whole bunch of resources on our YouTube channel on setting YNAB up and some advanced topics as well. Hope this has been helpful. Happy YNABing.